Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, student attendees, future master's students in France. It's our great pleasure to be hosting this event this morning. It's the first of a webinar series organized by Campus France USA that explores master's programs in France and opportunities at the graduate level in 4 key disciplines. My name is Natalie Cox, and I'm the Deputy Director of Campus France USA, and I'll be handing the floor over to our excellent colleagues, experts in urban studies and planning in France, faculty members at French universities, students, alumni. We're looking forward to an informative and inspiring discussion this morning. And thank you all for being present this morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Vincent Michelot, who's the Attaché for Higher Education at the French Embassy in the United States, also the Director of Campus France USA, and full professor at Sciences Po Lyon. Vincent, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Thank you to all of you for attending this first webinar on master's studies in France. I'm particularly happy that we have brought such an interesting panel of representatives of masters in urban studies and environmental studies for you this morning. I want to be extremely thankful to all of you for participating from France at a time which is later in the afternoon. So good afternoon to our French colleagues in France. And I will be very brief in simply stating what our goals are in that series of webinars. It is to make a master's studies in France, very concrete for all of you to see exactly what the state of the discipline or the field is, and for you to be able to ask precise questions. We've decided to start with the field of urban studies. We will then, at a later date, which will be announced soon, have a similar webinar on the issue of, or the topic of European affairs and European studies. We will have one on sustainable food and agriculture. And then finally, we are going to dedicate the last webinar to the discipline, which in French is called Économie sociale et solidaire, and which is a very French approach to economics, which is based essentially on the idea and the concept of social justice. So I don't want to be too long. Again, thank you very much for participating this morning, and an immense merci to our friends and colleagues from urban studies schools and departments in France. I hope you find this session informative and that you'll want to be going to France in the very near future. Natalie, up to you.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for that introduction. It's my pleasure now to introduce Nicolas Douay, who's the Attaché for Higher Education at the French Consulate in Chicago, also the Deputy Director of the newly launched Villa Albertine in Chicago, and Professor of Urban Studies and Urban Design and Planning at the Université Grenoble Alpes. Nicolas, over to you to introduce the domain of urban studies in France.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Vincent, Natalie, and Shannon for organizing this seminar. So I work as attaché for academic higher education for the Midwest and also for the Villa Albertine. But also I mainly focus my work on urban and architectural issues for the Villa Albertine. So I'm very happy to moderate, to be part of this seminar, because I'm quite familiar with the teaching of urban planning, and especially because I think that France can offer an original experience for foreign students, whether they come from the United States or from other countries. So indeed, the practice of urban planning, and therefore its teaching, is culturally situated. So in other words, the place, the social, cultural, political, or environmental context is not neutral. So moving to a new country offers an opportunity to confront yourself with different territories, but above all with different cultures of planning and urbanism that will allow you to question your frames of reference and put you in a reflexive posture. So I did this when I was a student of urban planning in Canada at the age of 20. And I believe that several years later, it remains a founding moment in my own critical vision of urban planning and all professional practices. So moreover, it seems to me that choosing France to study urban planning is certainly a relevant option, because planning is an important and historical object of public policies. So you can think of the work of Haussmann in Paris, of course, but more recently of many public policies for the protection of the coastline, of landscapes, of water, or even smart cities or ecological transition initiatives that can emerge now from large French private groups such as Internship, NG, Veolia, but also from citizens' initiatives, so in a bottom-up perspective. So today, we will discuss with three important schools in Paris, Tours, and Grenoble, but the list of programs is very long in France. So I strongly encourage you to visit the website of APERO, so APERIU, for the Association for the Promotion of Teaching and Research in Urban Planning and Design, which presents the list of the full accredited programs, such as those of Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne, Sorbonne University, Sciences Po Paris, which offers the only double degree with an American university, UCLA, but also many programs in regions such as Lille, Lyon, Aix-Marseille, Toulouse, Bordeaux, Rennes, Brest, or Strasbourg. And so now I suggest that we can start with the Paris School of Urban Planning, which is in the Greater Paris area. Thank you. Sorry, we start with Tours. Sorry.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on the place and the continent where you are today. First of all, I would like to thank you, Campus France USA, for organizing this panel. I'm very happy to be with you. On this slide, you can see the city hall of Tours, which has been designed by a very famous French architect, whose name is Victor Laloux, in the late 19th century. And what is common to many French cities also, which is the collective transport system here, the tramway, passing through the historical center of Tours. I'm going to add, actually, Natalie, if you may, on the next slide, some details and some more pictures about Tours. Yeah, so Tours, it was founded by the Romans, like many French cities, just like Paris, for instance. It's located 1 hour by train from Paris. You can see the skyline with the cathedral emerging. We have no mountains as compared to Grenoble. And you can see also on the left-hand side what is the most emblematic square in the city, with the buildings going back to the Middle Ages. And it's really a place where students and tourists meet, because Tours is really a touristic place. It is part of the Loire Valley, which has been inscribed on the World Heritage List for its 150 castles going back to the French Renaissance. You can see, for instance, on the upper right picture, it's a picture of a castle, Chenonceau Castle, which was built literally on a river. You can cycle there from Tours. You may also cycle to Amboise, a place where Leonardo da Vinci spent his last years. And you could also visit the very famous Villandry Gardens, which welcome nearly 1 million visitors each year. So you can understand from this introduction that the student weekends in France here in Tours can be quite enjoyable. Now I will turn to my school, Polytech Tours, which is a school of engineering, on the next slide. Yeah, it's a multidisciplinary school of engineering. Our roots go back to the 1960s when concerns about the environment started to grow in the Western world, and first of all, in the academic world. And a professor in biology, Vincent Labery, happened to found the department together with geographers and sociologists. He wanted to create a multidisciplinary program to try to conciliate the protection of the environment on the one hand and growing human needs. We could talk of sustainable development 2 decades before the term was made popular in the Brundtland report. Nowadays, Polytech Tours and its planning department has a quite important international profile, in the sense that all our students, the French students in the engineering curriculum, must spend a semester abroad. So we have a continuous flow of outgoing students and incoming students sent by our partner university. Nicolas also just mentioned the French-speaking network of planning schools, but Tours also co-founded the English-speaking European Association of Planning Schools, ESOP, and we're quite active in this network, which has today 150 members all over Europe, who are involved in several research groups. So, in a nutshell, Polytech Tours proposes 3 curricula. The first one is the engineering curriculum, which is performed in French. We have also a PhD program in urban and regional planning, and we launched in 2010, so more than 10 years ago, this International Master Planning and Sustainability, on which I'm going to focus right now, because it might be the most relevant to you. So why did we launch this program? According to the United Nations, urban planning is a priority field for higher education if we want to address effectively the environmental and also the social challenges facing cities and actually the whole world. You can see on the slide that one of the goals is sustainable cities and communities. It's the 11th Sustainable Development Goal, but the first one, no poverty, or the 7th one, clean and affordable energy, are also very relevant to the present urban context worldwide. So the master has been launched in order to try to help to address these issues wherever the students come from. We try to equip them with knowledges and skills in sustainable urban development. This is a 2-year course, which is taught entirely in English. And now we try to expand our international relations through this program. For instance, we got the quality recognition from ESOP, and we have also a partnership with the University Network Initiative, which has been launched by UN Habitat a few years ago. Now we can turn to the students. Who are the students on the next slide? Yeah, you can see on the map that the students, they come from all over the world. Each year we have 12 or 15 students, and this represents as many nationalities. This master is really a melting pot. That's how I would define it. The program is aimed at students who may not be city planners, but who want to acquire skills and knowledge in this field: urban planning, urban studies, and sustainable urban development. Typically, students have a bachelor in architecture or in environmental management or in regional development, in geography, but it can be also in business administration, in sociology, anthropology, etc., etc. Almost all of them, when they come from another continent, including from the US, of course, from North America, they come to France and to Europe for the first time. And they have to work in a multicultural context. Here I should say that even though the program is made totally in English, we propose a course of French language as part of this program, so as to facilitate the social and cultural integration of our students. You can see some pictures of students on the site for a site survey, visiting a planning agency, being honored, receiving prizes, organizing a conference, etc., etc. So for me, this is all these pictures, it's good memories. I hope this would be good memories for them, but they will have a say in a few minutes. I will just add that after they graduate, a quarter of the students go on with a PhD, and other students, they occupy a consultancy or managing position in a public or in a private organization. This can be in their home country where they go back, but it can be also in another country. The last slide will be a short look at the contents of this master's degree. I would say that through lectures, seminars, or readings, students acquire knowledge on compact cities, polycentric regions, transport systems in the urban context, the management of natural risks, just to give a few examples. We also try to cultivate skills that would be useful for students once they enter the labor market. For instance, students take part in a workshop during the fall term, and this develops their capacity to contribute to collective work with students. Some of them are architects, others are sociologists or geographers, specialists or GIS, etc., etc., and they mix and they work together. Also, during the fourth semester, and this will be probably a common point with Grenoble and École d'Urbanisme de Paris, the students develop a research question, which means that they write, they submit, and they defend their master thesis. Their work is sometimes published in scientific publication. You can see on the right-hand side some images that I took from the thesis that was made respectively by Lindsay Johnston, Johanna Sanabria, and Etienne Bouabdo, who are all present to this webinar today. So I will leave the floor now to Johanna if she wants to add a word, and then Lindsay, and finally Etienne. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christophe. So everyone, hello. That's great that you are part of this webinar. So my name is Johanna Sanabria. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. I chose this program because of different reasons. The first one, because it gave me the opportunity to have the mix between water management and urban planning. So I already had experience in water management. I didn't have really education on urban planning, so that was great. Also because at the beginning I didn't speak French, so I needed a program fully taught in English. And also because thanks to the focus on environmental management, I had the opportunity to have a full scholarship given by the French government. In the program, I found a very mix of cultures. I had like eight nationalities in my program. So it was great because we all arrived with different perspectives towards urban planning from our different education and also our context, like cultural context. And then I would like to say that also, like, France is a great place in terms of innovation. So right now I'm working at the city of Lyon, in the metropolis of Lyon, and I'm managing a program financed by the European Commission. It's a live program, which try to work towards permeable or green cities. I think like our concepts are very new. So we are trying to address rainwater management through nature-based solutions or green infrastructure. And I think that's just possible because France is at this point of, they are very referenced by like trying to experiment on new things. They are very progressive and they are really trying to change the way we are planning our cities. And I think that's very special because we don't have this opportunity in other cities. So I think that's the reasons I chose the program. And even though it's far from my home and it's hard to be far from your family, I think it's totally worth it to have these kind of opportunities and to increase your professional experience. If you have any questions at the end, I'll be glad to respond to those.
And Joanna, you studied in the US before coming to France. We have also Lindsay.
Hi.
Are you around?
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. Hi. So I'm Lindsay. I also studied in France. I was there in 2020, finishing my master's thesis. So I've come back to my home country now to work, and it's the master's really contributed to me getting a job a little bit outside of what I thought I would be doing. Originally, I ended up working in the wine industry, and it's been amazing that I've been able to apply everything that I learned in grad school here. So anything from the kind of sustainability aspects of, working for, an agritourism business, and also, studying into development and financing has really given me a lot of opportunities to kind of grow once I got out of school to do a little bit more than I thought I'd be able to do. So I'm now one of the managers here I work at Mountain Brook Vineyards, which is in Tryon, North Carolina. So not too far from the city that I wrote my thesis on, which is Wilmington. So I went from kind of studying hurricanes and the beach to working in the mountains and in a more agricultural focus. But I think the program is super beneficial, especially if you want to go into that kind of sustainable planning and urban planning, and looking into finance as well, so, and business development. And I think.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Do we have time for Etienne, a young architect, now based in France, but coming from Lebanon originally? Etienne, are you around?
Yes, I am here. So I'm going to share also part of my experience at Polytech Tours. After completing my master's in architecture, I came to Polytech Tours for the International Masters of Research. The experience, as everyone said, is very much like multicultural, very interesting experience, very nice environment. But I'd like to talk a little bit also about the city. The city where the school is at is kind of a very nice place to live. It's very beautiful. It has lots of nature, lots of nice sites to visit around, and very good quality of life for students that are on a budget. After completing this master's of research, now I am undergoing a PhD program, not at Polytech, but also in France, and also in urban planning. I think that the program with the semester of internship in research really helps you to have right tools to continue within the research field or even the professional field. Thank you.
Thank you, Etienne. I leave the floor to Nathalie.
Thank you so much, Monsieur Desmazières, and to Lindsay, Etienne, and I'm sorry, Joanna. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's really inspiring to hear the student stories about how studying in France in this particular environment, this particular urban, cultural, intellectual community has inspired you and kind of supported you on your next steps. And it was, we all enjoyed learning about the program at Tours. Thank you so much. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Madame Sonia Goulton from the École d'Urbanisme de Paris. She's a professor and the co-director of the Masters of Urban Studies and Planning.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very glad to be able to explain what we are doing. But Christophe has already paved the pace, because as we both, and with also Grenoble and other School of Urban Planning, we cooperate in this apéro association. You all know that apéro is drinking together. So that's what we are doing most of the time. And sometimes we are also working together. So we used to work together and we enjoy it very much. But we compete, of course. And I shall, well, we do have the same objectives, that is to teach young people how to be good urban planners and urban designer. And we also have we only have a master degree. And I will focus on what makes the difference. Of course, the difference is Paris, but I won't make you an overview of a tour, a visiting tour of Paris. We are located in the eastern part of Paris, not very far, 20 kilometers, 20 minutes from the center of Paris. And our specificity about Paris is to, maybe next slide, to propose the students three kinds of curriculum: a master program, as in Tours, with 2 years, and students generally come for 1 year, and we have a lot of other students coming from other background, architect, history, even from Tours. They sometimes come from Tours to Paris. That's why we double the number of students in our second year. And in this second year of master program, we welcome international students with a English-speaking program, which I develop further, Expertise Internationale. We also have a PhD program as for students who want to go on a thesis. And we propose continuing education only in French, unfortunately, but it may, well, it is good to know that we mix people, students that are really students and they never worked before. And we have quite a lot of students or professionals that come either to get specialized training or just to learn what is going on in urban design and urban planning. That means that we've got a lot of students, but and while they're in the same building, then they can speak together, cooperate for special events, or work on what we call a share du Grand Paris. They work on a topic in the Parisian region, and that's very important for us to mix people with different background, with this different professional experience, and help them to cooperate and create. Even some of the students create their own office afterwards. Next slide, please. We are located in this eastern part of Paris, which used to be what we call a new town. That means that there were nothing, and our government in the 16th develop a new town. And more recently, they wanted to develop a cluster, which is called Descartes, devoted to sustainable cities. That means that on this campus, you can see the picture on the right. There is a lot. I mean, it is quite a lot, maybe 30 units, from some academic units, some departments, some research units, and some famous school of engineering, school of roads and bridge, and also School of Architecture and the National Geographic Institute. They are all together on this campus, and they do cooperate on research program, or yes, mainly research program all together. So we do cooperate, and we are close together, and our government supports some initiative in the field of sustainable cities. That's quite important for us to be there, because of these relationships between other contexts. And also, if you want to come, you see where it is, and it is a green place, a lively campus, and well, people will got afterward the experience of one of the students. Next slide, please. I will go on this international track just to say that we've got, I don't know if it's a lot or not, but we quite a number of international students. 10% of all the students come generally from all the parts on the world, not only from Europe, but some from Asia, some from the States, the North Africa, and so on. The country varies from one year to another, but they are here. Some do speak French, and they attend the normal master classes, and some don't speak French, and these one we welcome them in a European city track. No, just a minute. And also those who are interested in the southern countries can follow this track called Urbanisme and Ville du Sud. That's it. That means urban planning in the city in the south. And this second track is in English and in French, so it's a bit difficult to attend this track if you don't speak French, but the other one, European cities, is in English. And also we've got quite a lot of partnerships like Erasmus program, MICEFA program with the States, and other agreements with Japan, Taiwan, Lebanon, and so on. If we look at, yes, this European city track, I won't go into the, yes, on the next slide, please. I won't go into all the program, and you will be able to find the program in details. This European cities track has been created 10 years ago. I think it has been created in partnership with other schools on the campus, especially the School of Architecture. And also it is quite original. We cooperate with four cities in Europe, in Hamburg, Milan, Malmö in Sweden, and Ljubljana. And we welcome students from these cities, and we have an international week where all the students from these four cities and from France gathered, and it is a workshop week. So it doesn't mean that all the students are only from these cities, but this helps cooperation, looking at what is going on in other countries, and give concrete opportunities to travel and exchange and work together with at least those cities. In addition, as it is done in all urban planning institute, we have a normal lecture that mix different topics from the analysis of the city, the building, the management, building and management of a strategy, how to plan a city, how to make a project, and how to manage the project. And that's, well, we try to have all the steps from the beginning of the idea of the city to the end of the management of the city. You miss, we don't have, okay, thank you. As in all the school, we have a planning studio. Years after years, the topics change. This year, the topic is about how to plan and manage the water in a small city. Previous year, it was about the social context of the development of a city. So it can deal with social, with water, more technical, about regulation, about finance. We try to have this interdisciplinary approach of planning and urban design. And of course, we have an internship and a master thesis, but that's just the case for all the institutes. At the end, if you go to next slide, we make a survey of what our students, what do they do after their master degree. This survey was made 6 months and 12 months and 24 months after the diploma. And after six months, about 80% of students have a job. That's come from our survey. And where do they work? Some are working in, I looked at the jobs that the students from the European track especially. And these international students, some of them from the last year, they are working in an international cooperation agency in China, Chile, India, or maybe some other one. Some are consultants, and the topic may vary. These ones were in climate change planning, and some other in housing policy agency. Other work like as a local urban planning supervisor. Some are working to improve the accessibility for disabled persons. So you see, we have, and that's what we are looking for, what we aim at, to give the students the possibility to work in very different situations, in very different positions, and also to change the job during their whole career. That's all, I think. You'll get some information about contact if you want on next slide. And also you can go on our website to see and to get more information. This diploma is, well, maybe you could have been afraid by the number of students, but in the second year of our master, we only have very small classes, and the track, for example, this international track, welcome only 20 people that are working together during the whole year. So I can say that it is a direct teaching, and we try to answer the question from the students. Of course, we need a very good English level, but it is without saying. Maybe I can give the floor to Lorraine, which attends this track, and she can tell you about it.
Great, thank you, Sonia. Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren. I'm originally from Canada, so I did actually do this track, so the International Expertise track. This was in 2019. I'm originally from a political science background, so I had a 4-year degree, and I entered directly into the Master 2, the second year. There were several things that really were interesting for me in this program. The first was sort of the multidisciplinary side of things. So I had the opportunity to work with colleagues who were architects, engineers. Again, I'm from a political science background. So it was really interesting when we came to our planning project, which was a real world project, that we could kind of bring all of our expertise together and really come up with some innovative solutions. So that was really an interesting experience. Of course, within the master, I was also able to network and make some really interesting connections with professors and also more in the professional sphere. So I actually decided to do an internship. And so I did my internship with an architecture association here in Paris, which was really an invaluable experience. I worked with them for my internship, and then I ended up getting a contract for a year to work with them. And I actually worked on some European projects, notably a Horizon 2020 program, which of course is directly linked to some of the elements of the International Expertise Program, which focuses on some of these ideas of how to apply for European projects, grants, and working in more of a collaborative environment. So I got to put that into action during my work there. And that led me to actually pursue a PhD program. So today I'm here at LATS, which is in the same building as where I did my master's degree. And I actually have the same advisor that I had during my master's thesis, because it turns out we have the same research interests. So today my research project is on the drugs planning nexus. So I'm studying the open drug scene here in Paris. So overall, the experience was really great because it's led me to where I am now. And obviously my long-term goal is to stay in France and to research in a new environment, to get away from my research, of course, was in Vancouver previously. So it's really helped me widen my perspectives as a researcher. And I think it's going to benefit me in my future academic career.
Thank you very much, Laurine. Now, okay. Maybe Christina could speak.
Yes, let's give the floor to Christina from Grenoble. Thank you, Christina.
So yeah, thank you very much as well. Thanks for Campus France USA. We are presenting a really new, fresh baby called the Trust Master, so for Transformative Urban Studies. Yeah, the slides will probably come quite soon. So Natalie or me? No, it's you, no? Doing the passing the slides. Okay, but just to tell you, so this master program, there are two years master program, but in English it will be, in English it will be just for the second year master program where you can directly apply. But I would really like to have the slides if it's possible. And just to tell you, so again, so this master is the result of the merge of 3 former masters. One was a master in geography, more linked to development studies and development issues, and then 2 masters in urbanism, which was called, one was called ICAP, was directed by Nicolas Douay, here present. It was a master in international cooperation and urban planning, and then the French small brother called Urbanisme et Coopération Internationale, UCI. So we merged it to make a new master called Transformative Urban Studies. This master, we wanted to take, let's say, the best of the 3 masters that we were offering and try to put together in a new form some main ideas. And one was to go beyond the north-south divide, and the other one was to take really for granted as well the question of a need for going beyond sustainable development and try to take yeah, you can go farther, one more. Yeah, so before sorry, just one back, please. Yeah, so being aware of the fact that we are facing global challenges and crises, and these are as well challenging transforming cities and their surroundings. So we wanted to, with this master, to combine a theoretical and methodological background in urban studies and strategic thinking of urban planning. And the idea was really to think about this promotion of social, spatial, and environmental justice. And we do teach through a transformative approach to professional practice, and we are, as the other masters here around that they're presenting here, using immersive experiences in teaching via workshops and seminars in small classes most of the time. And you can go on. One more. Can you please? Yeah, so just before, I'm sorry, it's like no, just back, please. Yeah, so as for the 1/4. So we prepare, of course, students to become urban planners, as for the other masters here. We provide students the tools to understand urban transition and transformation at a global scale, going, as I said, beyond this north and south divide by taking global challenges as the focus. And what we are promoting is as well autonomy and adaptation from the students through what we call immersive learning experience. And we promote, this is probably one of the points that I'm going to come later on, bi and plurilingualism. And we ask actually students to have a minimum of B1 level of French as well, because during the workshops that we are doing, we are trying to get connected with the local actors and stakeholders. And in that sense, it's really important for us that students can interact with these partners with whom we are working. And you can continue with the slide, next slide. So as has been mentioned before, the trust track, which is within the main urbanism and planning master, is can you please go further? One more. Is accredited by the Apéro, as the other colleagues already mentioned, this French association, but as well to other ones. And I would like to have, if it's possible, the slide. So the ISOP OPQU, which is the last one, the Quebec Order of Planners Association. I just wanted to say a couple of words since the slides are not really following, and hopefully I have here the main line. The international dimension of the master, as I said, I mean, the lectures are given in English, but it encourages the use as well of other languages. And as I said before, we ask the students to have a minimum level of French because of this willingness that we have, that the students can interact with the partners that we have. It focuses on international themes, and we are proposing international workshops as well, and a mix of French and foreign students, mainly French students coming the first year master, and then in the second year students, foreign students joining the class. Yeah, you can, go further on. One more. So just to, I'm not alone directing this before, please. I'm not alone directing this master. There's you can stay here actually. The co-director is Adriana Diaconou, and as you see here, I just put the pictures of the people who taught this new master. So these 5 women and 1 man, Jean-Michel Roux, that most of you, most of my colleagues here know. So these are the people who were thinking about this new master, and you can pass to the new slide, to the next one, please. I just show you an example of a picture taken from one of the visits, or what we call urban visits in Lyon, that took place last year. If you can continue with the new slide. So this is so we're going to have all during the year different urban visits where the students are invited to see different urban settings in Lyon, in Grenoble, or other places. And just to give you an idea for the workshops that they are organized this year, and you can show the next slide, please. So this year we always start. We decided to start with a kickoff workshop in a really rural area, so in Ardèche, in southern France, to make the class being like to consolidate somehow. And then this year the workshops that we have, one is taking place in Passy, in Sfax, Tunisia, where we have long-term collaboration with the city of Sfax, because it's a partner of the city of Grenoble, and they're going to be for the international students a workshop in Barcelona. And if you can yeah, just a particularity, I think, compared to the other masters that are present here. We have 2 tracks of the master, one which is called Formation Initiale with an internship, and the other one with a Formation Continue. So the people are the students in Formation Continue are apprentice and doing an apprenticeship. So there's kind of double rhythm of classes where you meet together students that they are apprentices as well, and you have some courses which are mutualized and specialized courses, and with one. So the second semester for the students, and mainly the foreign students, are taking the Formation Initiale. It's the second semester. There's an internship that can be done in France or abroad, and of course, as Christophe said as well, you're gonna have to write a master thesis. So there's this exercise on the master thesis at the end. Just a last slide. That I would like to show you, which is with just the titles and the names of the teaching units, which are the content of them. It's more within every teaching unit. There are different lectures, but teaching unit on more theoretical and conceptual, then a second teaching unit which is more about the challenges that the cities are facing and strategies to face them. Transformative practice in professional context, which is more all the workshops that we are offering, and a teaching unit on methods, methodology, and digital mapping, and then we're gonna accompany you as well in the professional and research plan. So this is, and the second semester, of course, as I said, the internship and the master thesis. I'm gonna give you the floor to Jorge Coco, which is actually alumni from the IDS students. Since we are really new, so we cannot oh, this one you can skip and just go to the end. Yeah, I just in case the people want to, the students and present here want to, yeah, you can let the slides with our coordinates. And Jorge, are you there? So a former IDS student, since we do not have a former trust the students.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Christina. I'm here, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. After Christina's presentation, I would like to take a few minutes to tell you about my experience in order for you to know what you can learn and what you can achieve with this program. In my case, it was my job in Argentina that pushed me to learn more, because I needed solutions. I'm a political advisor in Argentina, and I needed solutions. There were issues that I couldn't truly approach to solve. And so I was looking on the internet. I loved France. I was going to France, and I wanted the experience of not a big city, but of a more local city, warm city, probably. And I found Grenoble and this international development studies program, which was great. And what I really liked was that it truly concentrated on tackling issues and solving issues. And Argentina has a lot of development issues. So I was really attracted to this program. I took this program, and then I did my internship in the creation of this program, Transformative Urban Studies. Now, and I did my thesis using this approach. Now, what do I find interesting about this approach? Is that I find it really, really fitting for times of crisis, like right now, where demands come from every point, from every group in society. And what I like about this program is that it's really aware of all the debates going on the field right now. It's very aware, very up-to-date approach. And when we bring this to cities, what we do is we conceive differently the spatial variables of our societies, right? We conceive new cities. We conceive cities where we can take into consideration every voice, every group, every culture, because this program really tries to erase the North-South divides. I'm from Argentina, and I could see this. I could live this. There was no difference. Every culture, every idea had a space in this approach, in this program. Now, I want to show you how far you can go with these theories and how really fitting for every situation they are. I did my thesis on how to reduce gender inequalities by working on urban policies in a medium-sized city in Argentina. So everything I was being taught in France was really fitting for my reality in a small city in South America. And what I learned from this is how to be really up to date on the field, on how to design cities, how to plan cities, going beyond this notion of sustainability and really questioning ourselves. What do we need to be sustainable on, and how should we be sustainable? In what field? In time and space. This is my experience with the program, and I'm really glad I took it, because now with my thesis I could really bring something down to Argentina with this approach. I could find solutions that I couldn't see with previous perspectives.
Thanks, Jorge Coco. I don't. Should I give the floor to the next speaker, right? And I do not remember who is it. I'm so sorry. Natalie, can you help me maybe? I think Natalie, Nicolas.
Yes, I think we will open the floor for the questions.
Okay,
so we have one questions from Sitekan Casper, who is currently in the US, and it's a question about the scholarship and tuition fees. And I believe that the first element that we can share that most of the French universities are offering the same tuition fees for foreign students as the French one. So most of the time it's less than 300 euros for a master program, which is very low. And you need to have in mind that the real cost of the program is more something like 20,000 euros for every student per year. So every most of the French students will pay the same as the French students, and few universities will also have specific programs of scholarship. I know that it's the case for Grenoble, but you need to apply and you need to get selected. But maybe Vincent or Nathalie, you have specific answers for scholarships that could be for US students or students based in the US. I don't know.
Yes, thank you, Nicolas. Apologies, everyone, for the poor connection. I saw the question about scholarships. It's very specific to the institution. And so we do have quite a bit of resources on scholarships that are available from for students applying to French institutions from the US. So I absolutely encourage the student that's here today to visit our website, usa.campusfrance.org, click on funding, and you'll see quite a wealth of resources on various scholarships, also types of financial aid that can be accessible for US students. You can also email us at washington@campusfrance.org, and we'll help you explore scholarship options. As Nicolas mentioned, the tuition fees in French universities are much lower relatively to US universities already, and we're happy to help students understand the fee structure and scholarship and financial aid opportunities.
If I may add that it was a fight with our government tried to have special higher fees for foreign people, and our university said no, and we win, just to say.
And also we can share the information about the specific support for housing in France that could be also for foreign students. So if you apply for residencies on the campus, you will get some specific support. And if you apply for housing outside of the campus, you will also get something like around 150 euros every month for the housing. And most of the time you will have also specific rates for public transportation, and cafeteria. It's also could be also very cheap, so you can get so many different kind of support in the campus.
If I may, just before we wrap it up, I would like to ask each one of the participants representing different degree programs in France to address very briefly in a couple of sentences the added value of studying in France for an American student. I mean, our audience is made of American students. Why should they go to France to study urban planning, urban studies? Why should they study about the city in France rather than the United States? And do you have a track record or indications that even if those students decide to return to the United States after they've graduated, they have good chances of finding employment in the field. And again, if you could do that very briefly, but I think that's the crux of our webinar this morning. Christina, since you're on my screen to the left, I mean,
I'm in your screen, and I should start. You know, as a Swiss. So because we are quite an international team actually now, managing actually the so we had in the past some students, of course, from the US as well. I would say that probably, at least in Grenoble, one of the important point that I can add as well is the lab with which we are connected to, so which is the PACT lab, so which is one of the most important, the biggest. I'm not so sure that it's the biggest, but one of them, of social sciences lab, research lab. So this connection could be really good. So, and the possibility in case of doing a PhD as well there. And then Grenoble is as well a nice place, I would say, for sustainability and transformative studies. Could be is the place to be with the elected mayor, which is from the Green Party, and there's a lot of things going on in the small city of Grenoble. So could be as well a place where you can observe how it is to think a city and to plan a city and to make a city more sustainable. Of course, you know, there's a lot of critics that can be addressed as well to what is going on in Grenoble, but there's as well an opportunity to have a look in an European city what is possible to do. I don't know if I was not really prepared to this question, but this is the two things that came into my mind. I don't know if they can.
If I can add a word as a person who had the experience to do it. It is very true what Christina mentions about the city. Probably for people from Grenoble, it's not so noticeable, but when you come from outside, the city really is a laboratory, a living laboratory of urban sustainability. It's really in every corner, in every action the city does, the municipality, you can see this approach. So it's really good in that sense.
Right. Anybody else would like to contribute on that same topic?
If maybe Christophe, you'll come after me. I would like to point two things. First, I think as long as I know, because I travel abroad, and the French approach of urban studies and planning, first is a global approach. We consider all the value added, all the chain of the system, from the strategy to the management of the project, and that's very special in my point of view. And also we consider all the knowledge needed when we plan a city, from the technical knowledge to the social approach. And very often the French approach take into account the social understanding of the city. That's very special to the French. I'm not sure, but that's what I understand from other people, especially from the British approach, which is more far from the social understanding. The second thing I would like to add is that Europe is very small and the distances are small, but the countries are various, numerous. And when you learn in France, you're able to understand, or at least to know, to have a look at what happened in very different contexts, social contexts, institutional contexts, from France to Belgium, just it takes 2 hours to go from Paris to Belgium, and people are very different, and the way we are planning the cities are very different, and that's a very special and a good reason to come to France to study urban planning, because you can travel and you can meet people, because people come to France, you can meet them and have a very various approach of different systems. And I think that's very good for the understanding of cities. Being in Paris, well, there's good and bad things. In our in our school of urban planning, we have a special look at the metropole, international metropole, but I'm sure you're doing that in Grenoble and in Tours too. And we are very close to our governments and practitioners. So we do not interfere into legislation, but we very often meet them. And where we are able to meet them, we're not always able to convict them to do the right way, but we try. So Christophe, you have.
Yes, briefly, because I agree with all you said, Christina and Sonia, and I think that Lindsay also wants to add a word. I think that if it's really worth spending 1 year abroad, you will discover new ways of planning cities, of course, but you will just as well discover other cultures. There is the possibility to travel outside France in the neighbor European countries. Our students do it regularly during the breaks, of course. And I think there's also this idea in France that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to the urban problem. It's always specific to a place, and I think that yes, Grenoble or the campus in Paris Est, with this Descartes cluster, they are really emblematic of solutions which are important to find out, because we are facing very important massive issues with climate change and the loss of biodiversity, for instance. But at the same time, there are no technical ready-to-use solutions, and we need to adapt them, invent them, and to be innovative. And urban planners have a very important role to play. Not only engineers or technicians or political decision makers, but urban planners. It's an important profession, I think, to find concrete and efficient solutions to massive problems.
Yeah, so I just would like to say, from the perspective of an American student that did go and study in France, I agree with everyone that there are phenomenal opportunities to travel within and outside of France. But speaking purely from an academic standpoint, while I was there, it's very different than your American lecture halls where you're sitting and kind of being spoken at. And I feel like there's a lot more one-on-one involvement with the faculty, a lot more hands-on experience. And of course, like the multicultural element to me is invaluable, because it prepares you so much to deal with people from all over the world. If you choose to stay in France, you've got a leg up, you know, for integrating into the French workforce, of course. And even in my experience of coming back to my home country and going into work, having those kind of hands-on experiences. And, you know, I feel like I also was able to develop connections that will be a part of my professional and personal life forever. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Was there one more panelist that wanted?
I think we have two questions about the number of places it's available for the first year of the master program at l'UP, and then another one about the French workforce after graduation. Is it difficult to get a job in France or in Europe? So I don't know if anyone could answer, and maybe probably Sonia for the first year of the master. Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the first question? How to get into the first year of?
No, it's the number of seats, the number of places available for the M1. In French.
It is in French, yes.
Okay.
You want me to answer in French?
No. The number of seats
have,
for the program in French.
We have from 60 to 120 places for the first year. That means that if students are good, we can go up to 120, but it will be a bit difficult to manage, and we are not sure they all get a job afterwards. So, but if they are not good, we sometimes just open the master for 60 students because they were not that good this year. And for the job, do you want to add something, Christophe? No, for the job, it's
yes, exactly. Yeah, about the labor market. But after you.
Yes, I'm always surprised by the range of job opportunities the students get. That's very surprising because some work in very small units, associate NGOs in Portugal or in Spain or in Africa, trying to build bring some water in the city, and some other work in international offices, and other work in planning, just designing the city everybody dreams, and some just are project manager on the field. So there are very wide range of opportunity. And it is also the case for the teacher. For the teachers come from very different background. I'm for School of Commerce. Some are from philosophy, anthropology. So it's very different, and that's the way we think the urban planning and design. And it's also that means that everybody can find a place, a job. He can do what he wants, and there's quite a lot of opportunities. As my survey, I wanted to tell about the survey. 60% of people find a job very quickly, and it's true during the other year. But Christophe, you can add something.
Yes, I think in general term, you will need to speak French to enter the labor market in France, but you have a year to master your French. Remember Joanna, coming from Colombia, she studied in the US before in San Francisco, as far as I remember, and she learned French, and now she works in a city organization in France. So it's possible. It will require a lot of effort, of course, but this is manageable. I also remember of an Indian student who was hired. He had poor French, but excellent English, of course. He was hired by a French firm who wanted to develop and had a lot of business with India. So it was in between, knowing the French culture and the French system of planning on the one hand, and having, of course, the capacity to interact with people in India.
All right. Well,
I would add
something.
I'm sorry. I would add just one more general comment to this question. There are over 1,600 degree programs at the graduate level taught in English in French universities. And there's been a major effort in recent years to create new curricula taught in English across a variety of disciplines to attract top international students and to also recognize the utility of English as a working language internationally. So I think that of course Christophe mentioned that to enter into most positions in the French labor market, you would also need to work on your French and speak French. But there's absolutely no, just in a very general sense, pursuing a master's degree taught in English doesn't put you behind generally in the labor market. In fact, maybe to the contrary, there are quite a lot of academic programs taught in English exactly for this reason, to prepare students from all over the world, from France and from other countries, for jobs where international collaboration is required.
And wanted to tell something. Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to speak on the idea of speaking French in France in the French workforce. I think I would argue it's indispensable. I think if you want to work in France, you really need to know French. And I think some people actually came into my master's and they weren't aware of how important it was. So I think in that year, it's really important if you do want to work in a French organization to really take the time to learn French, whether it's through an informal way with language exchange with other people on campus or taking courses on the side. But I'd argue that it's really, really important. And unless you are working for an international organization, and in that case, your English will obviously be an asset. But for me, speaking from my personal experience as an English speaker, I am bilingual now, and I wouldn't have been able to have the opportunities that I've had without being able to speak French.
Excellent. Natalie, unless we have more questions, or shall we wrap it up and ask you for your comments, your feedback, tell us whether this was informative, whether there were issues that were not addressed. But I sincerely want to thank, first of all, Nicolas Douay for helping us immensely with this first webinar, and the whole team at Campus France, but also our special guests from France, representing, as you saw, a variety of programs, and emphasizing the idea of the extreme value of comparison, of intercultural comparison, not only in countries, but also in methods of investigation, and also in policy making, as far as the city is concerned. And I also believe, as someone who has spent many years, even decades, hosting American students in France, that spending 1 year in France or 2 in a full master program means that even if the program is in English, you will, by the time you graduate, be comfortable enough in the language that you will want to at least avail yourself of the possibility of working in France. And one last thing, which is very, very important, which was underlined by a couple of our speakers this morning or this afternoon, France is a European country. And when you have access to France, you have access to the whole of Europe, even England, even the UK, even though we had Brexit. So that's a very, very important factor to take into account. So I really want to thank you very much, and hope that this will lead to more productive exchanges.
So thank you, I would say. That's it, probably. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our panelists, and to Nicolas Douay and Vincent Michelot, and to all of our participants. Please stay tuned for our 3 upcoming webinars that explore master's degrees in other key disciplines, including European affairs, sustainable food systems, and économie sociale et solidaire. Stay tuned. Thank you, everyone.